so far we've done 4 episodes. So what we're going to do, hopefully from now on, is once a month, we're going to get together or apart and discuss what we have talked about in the episode.
Yes, but first of all, you may have noticed something different about me. I don't know. It's the metal mouth. I've been talking about it online. Here it is, unveiling. It's the unveiling. So there you go.
Looks good, right?
Well, we'll see. It'll look better when they're off.
I like it when her lips get caught on the bits.
And I have to like go. Right.
So Michelle, you did tell me that it's our 69th episode, dude.
Yeah, it is. And what an auspicious number.
So the last episode of January will be 69.
Yes. So obviously that's coming out. It's a very exciting episode, one where we were really thrilled to have listener feedback. But we'll get to that.
So what did we discuss this month? So let's go right back to the first episode of season 3, aka 60-something, I don't know. So we talked about catfishing.
We did.
That was because I listened to a fantastic podcast by Alexis Mostoff, Tortoise Media, called Sweet Bobby. It's detailing an amazing story, and I'm really sorry. I feel a little bit bad, but what I actually did was just tell them exactly
you just discussed the episode, but...
So you don't have to listen. So I've saved you the time of listening to the episode. Though some eavesdroppers did then go on, find the podcast and listen. So you can thank us later, Alexi.
This is what I was going to say. I actually did have listener feedback saying that they really loved the episode and then they went and found it. I think they may even have gone to the show notes. So there you go.
You can do that.
You can. I always put loads of stuff in the show notes. But yeah, Sweet Bobby, I mean, it was a crazy story.
It was about a woman called Kirat who is now in her 40s, but she spent 10 years of her life, which is usually the case with catfishing, because we watched some catfishing on MTV last night.
We do. We watched some catfishing, and people get so invested so fast, and then they lose years of their life to people they've literally never seen.
Exactly, and Michelle, to be fair, you did continually say in the beginning of the episode, how stupid! What was she thinking? But actually, when you see these episodes or you listen to it, you find out that we don't know what's gone on between those two people. We don't know how they've managed to draw them in.
No.
That connection is very real.
Yeah.
Whether or not it's like, people actually in the flesh or online.
Yeah, because you divulge so much personal information when you're involved in this kind of online relationship, and because I think there is something very safe about having a barrier between you and someone else, you do reveal so much more. Like I said, I actually did get catfished. I shut that down very fast, so you need to listen to the episode to hear more about that.
We also talked about a woman who thought she was being catfished by a family member, but Michelle discovered that it was actually something a bit more supernatural.
Yes, and tied right into what we love. Don't want to give too much away because you should listen to the episode, or literally just watch that episode of Catfish, because I just did what Geordie did, which is I just told you what happened in this episode. Yeah,
not verbatim.
No, not verbatim, but yeah, basically this girl, she was contacted out of the blue by a woman who said, I've got messages for you from your father. She hadn't seen her father since she was 13. Turns out the reason that it happened was because father was dead. But he was a murderer.
I'm smiling.
And he was a murderer!
Oh, it wasn't a happy story, but it was interesting, really interesting.
Really.
But also that episode, before we wrap it up, we did discuss big things in Australia.
Yes,
now, if you aren't Australian, if you've never been to Australia, you won't know what we're talking about. Big things are a cultural, probably the closest thing we have to the tourists being able to go and see things like Westminster Abbey or the Empire State Building. That's still standing, right? That's not the one that fell down, is it? No.
It is. That was 9/11.
Okay, we're going to go back a little bit. I'm going to edit that out. So, the culture...
No, Empire State Building.
It's still standing.
There. No.
I'm so ashamed.
We were the Twin
Stop.
Towers.
Don't speak again. Okay, so the big things are things that you can see in Australia as opposed to seeing very old architecture that's more than 200 years old.
Statue of Liberty.
Because you can't have that.
No,
there's
you can't
nothing
have that
more
here.
than 200 years old. So there are things like, as we discussed on the show, the big prawn,
Big banana.
the big pineapple.
Big merino.
I discovered just quickly that there is a big bogong moth, and if you don't know what that is, then you're lucky.
But yeah,
Big acorn.
Oh, that's not fucking Australian?
I don't know.
Acorns. Anyway.
So the second episode of the season was the second week of January, How to Kill Your Parents. Now, it's not a guide.
No. And Jen was worried.
Was she concerned she might...
She was concerned. Yeah,
chop?
so we were planning the old matricide, but, yeah, the old chip chop. But no, it was really, I mean, how did that come about?
Because I watched Landscapers and you kept talking about Heavenly Creatures by Sir Peter Jackson.
Sir Peter Jackson, and also our favourite, current favourite, Melanie Linsky. Who...
She's in a lot of things that we like, and we're going to have a little wrap up of the television and the movies that we talked about in this month.
Yeah.
At the end.
Yes, because Heavenly Creatures, we discussed that a few episodes earlier. You need to go back to that, and don't ask me which one.
To be honest, I thought it was going to be a really dull, floaty film about two girls discovering that they were lesbians. That's what I thought it was going to be, but actually it sounds way more
Peter Jackson's involved.
Well, yeah, but then he did Bad Taste.
Yeah, he did.
That.
He did do Bad Taste before that, but it was always he was involved with CGI animation. You know, doing something that was a bit surreal, and that's what this film is. Honestly, I feel like I'm a
She's selling it
right now. Right now,
She's selling it. And the reason why we talked about Landscapers was because that's a TV series that was on here in the UK, and I think it's around and about in other countries as well.
Yeah.
And it was based on a true crime, but I didn't know anything about that before I started watching it. I just know I love David Thewlis. Yeah. Everybody loves Olivia Colman. Her husband Ed Sinclair wrote the screenplay, and a fabulous actor-director that I love called Will Sharp was directing. And it was it was good. It was slow. Michelle didn't like it, so she gave up.
I did.
But that's okay, because I watched it and I told her everything that happened.
So I don't need to watch it. I don't need to watch it now. But yeah, it was a really fun episode to do. So, and I hope you guys enjoy listening.
The link was that both things that we discussed, Heavenly Creatures, Landscapers, involved the killing of parents.
Parent or parents.
Yeah.
Yes. So yeah, that was a really fun one.
That was episode 2. So episode 3.
Yeah, we moved right on to
this one.
Well, you did Flat Earth.
You did
the moon landing
hoax.
Are they fake? Are they conspiracy theories?
Michelle had mentioned previously a couple of times that she doesn't believe that man walked on the moon. That she thinks it was all faked just to prove the Russians that America is the best.
I still half believe this.
Half?
No, well, I mean, you know, before the episode we had discussed, am I maybe going to change my mind about... Look, I'm not saying that man didn't walk on the moon. I'm just saying there is a possibility that it was faked before, because I think you can't discount the fact. And we did talk about a lot of facts, actually.
There were a couple of things, Michelle, that stood out to me. So the flag waving on a planet that has no atmosphere, that did make me think, oh, I'd like to look into that. And I don't think NASA's response was actually good enough.
No.
And the other thing was the radiation belt that you discussed that you have to go through at some point.
And you pretty much just, turn into a pile of ashes if you go through that. And, that we didn't have the technology in 1969. We maybe still don't, because...
Equally, I don't think that we had the technology to fake a moon landing. And I think that your argument about the 40,000 employees of NASA being, talking, if it was faked, and then your response to that was they were all tricked as well. Who is the puppet master here? And I don't know that I give anybody enough credit or enough. I don't think they're smart enough to pull that off.
I think it's a possibility. I do. And also, no man has walked on that moon in 50 years. It's 50
because
years
they did it. Because they did it and they found there was nothing there. And the only reason why they would go there, like I said on the episode, was for the Chinese to go and frack it and take all the minerals, but there's nothing worth anything because we've got the samples. Otherwise, they'd be up there. People would
not want anyone to go to the moon because...
No, don't go.
Don't go.
Don't fuck with that thing. If it starts, tilting off its axis, then it might fall or...
Yeah.
Don't mess up another planet just because you've done messing up this one. That's my take.
The only reason I want people to go back to the moon is because I want to see if that fucking flag is right there. Oops, sorry. Anyway, there you go. So then we move right... Well, actually, there were a couple of things. we talked about some secret society that we couldn't remember.
Illuminati. Illuminati, and I didn't look it up. I have looked into it before, and it's probably something that we might look into on the podcast in the future. Secret societies, because I find them fascinating, Michelle, don't you?
I do. They're secret.
Because they're a secret.
They're a secret.
We love secrets.
And also, you mentioned about that murder in the French Alps.
The Al Hilli murder. The family that was murdered in their car in the French Alps. There was a cyclist who came past, Sylvain Mollier, afterwards, and he was also murdered. It's years old now, this case. There was a little girl that survived, but obviously she can't remember anything, so not a good witness. They recently arrested someone on the day that we recorded that. That's why we spoke about it. But Michelle tells me that they let him go.
They did. They let him go. The thing that I found really disturbing about this, and we didn't talk about it on the podcast, was the little girl who survived. She survived because she hid under the legs of her dead mother.
Yeah.
So
I did actually mention that in there. She doesn't even listen to her own podcast.
Well, it wasn't skirts. It was like she was under the legs, but maybe that's the skirt.
There was a skirt.
Anyway, it was just not nice. So there you go.
So yeah, it's horrible, and I'm smiling again. I'm not smiling because of that.
Oh no.
It's very serious. But you did have something interesting that you uncovered regarding that murder. There was speculation that apparently it may have been a incident similar to, what was it called again? Jack Drummond, the Dominici affair?
Yeah, where the scientist had was given that gas that killed him. What basically this guy, Al Hilli, he was involved with sensitive government secrets at some point. So there could be some kind of Russian spy link. I don't know. Russian.
There was that Novichok.
Could be Russian. Yes. Novichok?
Be careful what you talk about, Michelle. Oh, we don't want to get targeted.
They're watching us.
So that then brings us on to the final episode of the month.
January. Yes. And
Empaths and
aliens.
Shaun Ryder's UFOs. Not aliens. He's looking into UFO sightings, alien abductions. There's a 4-part TV documentary that he did on the History Channel, which I watched and loved every second because Shaun Ryder is so entertaining, and we want Shaun to get in touch.
Yeah, get in touch, Shaun. And for anyone who maybe doesn't even know who Shaun Ryder is, happy Mondays. He's amazing.
If you follow our social media, you may see some interesting versions of us as the Happy Mondays. I'll be Shaun, you can be Bez.
Great. That'll be me. But yeah, and then we moved on to empaths, which we give a definition. Sorry, it's the braces. We give a definition of the difference between empaths and empathy. And it's actually really interesting. The reason we talked about this was because we have a listener, Natty J. She knows who she is.
AKA Natalie. I don't know if she really enjoys being called Natty J. That's just Michelle's.
Sorry, she's Natty J. She's always Natty J to me. But yeah, and she has got some great stories for us. So listen in for the good stories. And you know what? Like always, every month we seem to talk a lot about TV and movies. So in the 4 episodes that you may or may not have listened to this month, we talk about quite a lot of movies. Obviously, we had a whole episode that was devoted to TV show, or a TV show and a movie. That was the How to Kill Your Parents episode. But in addition to that, we discuss many movies, such as The Boys from Brazil, when we were talking about the empaths and Shaun Ryder's UFOs, because he's in Chile. And in The Boys from Brazil, which is, I think it's from the 70s, and it stars Gregory Peck as Joseph Mengele. She hasn't seen it. It's really good. He goes about trying to clone Adolf Hitler to start the Fourth Reich, and that is actually discussed in the podcast as something that some of the Chileans believe happened, because for some reason a lot of the war criminals from World War II relocated to South America. Right.
We don't know a lot more about that.
No.
If you're looking for facts, by the way, you need to go somewhere else. This is entertainment.
Yeah. And then we had The Sixth Sense, which you revealed is one of your
favourite
movies.
films. Absolutely. We want to watch that. Well, I want to watch that again.
Yeah.
Alongside Blade Runner, which is an all-time favourite from a very young age. But Sixth Sense, I think it's fantastic. For many years, I couldn't think about the end, Michelle, without bursting into tears.
Seen it again. Haven't seen it.
You've never seen it?
No, I know. It's crazy. We also talked about Don't Look Up, which was that zeitgeisty.
Everybody's watching it.
Movie of the moment.
They love it or they hate it. We loved it.
We
loved
enjoyed it. We enjoyed it.
Yeah.
Yellow Jackets. Actually, I love that.
That's a TV show.
It is a TV show. Because
we're both watching that.
Although back to movies, we did talk about Ravenous.
Oh, Ravenous, yeah.
We didn't know the name of it when we were talking about it.
Ravenous is a film that I happened upon my husband watching. It stars Guy Pearce and Robert Carlyle and others.
Yes.
And it's about cannibalism, and that relates back to
Yellow Jackets,
which is a TV show that we're watching, which is kind of like that film Alive, where they crash land in the Andes and they have to eat. They don't kill each other to eat each other in Alive, which is a true story about the soccer team that crash landed in the Andes.
They just ate the ones that were dead already.
Exactly.
It was survival.
And some of them actually said, if I die, you can eat me. I give you my permission. So we don't actually know if they did.
If I die, will you eat me?
I'm not sure.
No.
I'm not sure if I could. Something
Well,
I didn't really think deeply about.
Yes, that actually connects to an episode that we had where we talked about strange addictions. But that's for you to discover.
Delve
from
back
last
into
year, season 2.
Season 2.
Exactly. 2. Yeah.
We also discussed that awful TV show based on Stephen King books or something, or he wrote it, Under the Dome, because with Flat Earth, they believe that, some believers think that we're under a dome.
The Earth is like this, the rest is like this.
And there's a 45-metre high ice wall, and I was wondering about whether planes can just fly off the edge of that. You know what, at 30,000 feet, my maths isn't great, but I'm pretty sure 45 metres is nowhere near 30,000 feet. You'd fly into space.
You would. And also, the big question here is, they come up with all these scientific theories to prove the Earth is flat. I say they, flat earthers. Why don't they just walk to the edge? There's your proof.
Well, I think my 9-year-old said to you, because there's an ocean in the way.
No.
Didn't he say that?
You just sail over the ocean.
Okay.
You just get in a boat. So just go to
It's
the
confirmation
edge.
bias.
Prove it.
If you want to believe something, you will find 100 million ways to prove it. And even if your experiments, which they did in the documentary Behind the Curve that I watched for the research for that episode, they did many. Scientists were applauding their amazing experiments, but yet even though every experiment that these flat earthers did kept proving them wrong, that the earth is not flat, they continued to believe what they wanted to believe.
But I say again, just go to the edge. That's all the proof they need to give us. But anyway.
Michelle thinks she knows all the answers.
No, I don't know all the answers. It's just like walk to the edge and then take a photo. But anyway.
So other TV we spoke about was Toast of Tinseltown, because we love Toast of London. Matt Berry is a particular favourite of Michelle's. She loves him, quite literally.
I love Matt Berry. Toast of Tinseltown. Season 3, actually. Oh, he's on season 3 like us.
Yeah?
Or was it season 4, Toast of Tinseltown? Oh, it's one of them. Anyway, I did really enjoy it, and because we do love Clem Fandango. We do love Clem Fandango.
Stephen, can you hear me?
it's Clem Fandango, Stephen. Anyway, I can't do it. You can do it.
It's great. It's lots of fun. Some people think it's silly. I get why. Yeah.
It's very British.
So we watched that. We like that. That's funny to watch.
Yes.
And we spoke about Yellow Jackets. And the other thing is Spartacus, because I had a friend who I travelled with in the 90s, early 90s, called Antonio Tamayaha. And I couldn't remember what TV show he was in, because he went on to be an actor. He was in Spartacus, and he was a big beast of the Beast of Carthage, I think he was called. I don't know, I didn't watch it, but you know, Antonio, I love you. And I'm sure many other people love him as well. And I just found out he's in Cowboy Bebop, which my husband's watching at the moment.
There you go.
So I'm very proud of what he's done. That's great.
Yeah. And
come on the show, Antonio.
Oh, yes. And that's really about it. That's our roundup.
Yeah.
So fantastic.
Hope you've enjoyed it, and I look forward to seeing you again next month.
And you can go and listen to all of these on every platform. Also go to the website, eavesdroppingpodcast.com. We want to hear your stories.
Email us, hello@eavesdroppingpodcast.com.
No G. Never any G.
No
Eavesdropping,
Gs.
no G.
And in the meantime, whatever you look like,
wherever you are,
however you smell, just keep
eavesdropping.